I have got really good news for all of you. No, I'm still going to preach. That's not what the good news was. Nice try. But we are getting a tremendous deal, an incredible discount has been given to us. Almost 85% off. Whoa, we want to take advantage of that. Because in the gospel tonight, Jesus says, no, not 7 times, but 77 times. Well, in some of the other translations, and maybe even in the older translation of the scripture that we use now, it didn't say 77 times. It said 7 times, 70 times. So we get to go from having to forgive 490 times to only having to forgive 77 times. That's a difference of 413 times we don't have to forgive. How about that? See, Peter was serious, I think, in asking what he thought was reasonable in terms of this forgiveness that Jesus had been talking about. But Jesus, in essence, says, okay, you want to talk numbers? Let me give you some numbers to think about. And so, as is so often the case with parables, there's wild exaggeration. Because some of the ancient texts refer to the fact that, okay, first of all, a denarius was basically the daily wage. Most common workers, they just got paid a certain amount each day, and it was one denarius. In the gospel, it didn't just say who owed him a huge amount. It said who owed him 10,000 talents. Well, a talent is a huge amount of silver. A talent is 10,000 denarii. So this court official owed the king 10,000 talents, 100 million days' wages. If we just looked at today and said, well, okay, for a common worker, minimum wage, whatever, let's just say $50. Then this official owed his king $5 billion. I have no idea how one individual could even get that much in debt. But that's the point that Jesus makes in this exaggeration. I have forgiven you so much. And this other owes you so little in comparison. Contrasting the master's generosity of heart with the debtor's pettiness of heart. The first reading, The book of Sirach, it starts off, wrath and anger are hateful things, yet the sinner hugs them tight. Why? Why do we hold on to anger? Why do we hold on to our hurts, our grudges? Most of the time it's because I have convinced myself that I am justified in holding on to them. In the story, the wicked servant, the debtor, he was convinced that he was better than everyone else. He was owed. He was entitled. Regardless of what had been done for him. Come on, pay up. The fact that you owe me, that's far worse than anything else. Because it's me. Someone once said that doing an injury puts you below your enemy. Revenging an injury makes you even with him. And forgiving an injury sets you above him. And we might think, oh, wow, that sounds nice. That sounds noble. Yes, of course we want to be forgiving then. But is that why we want to forgive? So that makes me feel superior? I'm above him? I'm better than you? I'm going to forgive because it makes me feel good about myself. It bloats my ego. That's what the man in the story was about. His ego. And we do that. We can very easily put ourselves in the center of the universe. What has happened to me because it's happened to me is so much worse than when it happens to somebody else. How dare they? It allows me to play the martyr. And that allows me to tell myself, oh, see, the fact that I am willing to suffer for this, I'm better, I'm holier. In case we haven't figured it out yet, part of the teaching of Jesus, part of the gospel, says to us, I don't have the right to think I'm better than anyone else. And I'll say that again because I've got it in the biggest print in my notes here. I don't have the right to think that I am better than anyone else. Not according to the gospel. Not according to the way of Jesus. But boy, we do it. Just in the last couple of weeks, some of the emails that I've been getting from people on both ends of the political spectrum. People being so critical of the president, or people being so incredibly critical of the Pope. And yet they feel so justified that their position is right, and therefore they have the right to tear down, to condemn, to judge. We don't. None of us. And I don't know, some of those who have been sending those emails, if that's going to tick you off to hear that, but it's the truth. I don't have the right to think that I am better than anyone else. I can still have an opinion. I can still want to stand for things. That's fine. But not by judging, not by vilifying. We have to remember, this is one of my favorite statements. The gospel levels us all and receives us all. For every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. I'm not better than everyone else because in God's eyes, I'm not that different from everyone else. And the mark of real forgiveness is the realization of how much I need forgiveness myself. It's only when I can come from that point in my heart, a genuine humility, not my ego, not my need to build myself up, but a genuine, humble heart. Accepting that I need forgiveness as well. And not this phony, fake, oh yes, I need forgiveness. Oh God, I am the worst sinner in the world. Oh Lord, have mercy, Lord. No, that's self-inflating too. I have to learn. I have to remember how much God has done for me. I've been forgiven the 5 billion. That's got to make a difference. That's got to affect how I am willing to deal with the imperfections, quote unquote, of others. We say it. We say it maybe several times a day. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And that's not saying that God is going to be limited in his forgiveness. It's not saying that if I don't forgive, God will not forgive me. But God, in fact, is saying, I'm not limited in my forgiveness, but if you're not disposed to really receiving that forgiveness, then what difference does it make if I offer it to you? We can forgive. We have to forgive. because the gospel levels us all and receives us all. Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. Thanks be to God.